Hey guys, what's up? I'm John Hoover, and here's what's up with OU football. First off, Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It is January 2nd, 2026, and we got a lot to talk about. The transfer portal opened last night. The college football playoff quarterfinals wrapped up yesterday, late last night. Brent Venables is going to have at least one job opening in the OU staff room. There may be more. So let's dive in. It's 2026, new year, new me, right? So I'm sure most of you already know that the 2025 calendar year was a pretty major year for me in terms of change, whether that would be personally, professionally, medically. A lot of new challenges came up in my life. But here's the deal. I'm expecting 2026 to bring even more changes. So we'll deal with it when they come, right? One of those changes, you're looking at it right here, more videos. You guys who have been coming to my YouTube channel for the past, 5, 6, 7 years have really helped this thing grow. It's ridiculous. More than 12,000 subscribers now and still growing. I'm just so grateful to all of you, everyone. We're going to get back to doing more of that kind of thing. The kind of thing we did when we launched this channel back in 2018, which is me giving you my takes on OU football. So get prepared for that. Going to be a lot more of this type of stuff coming out here on the YouTube channel. Another one of the changes that you're going to see in 2026 from me, you should really check out my Facebook page. That Facebook page is John E. Hoover Media. So this YouTube is John Hoover Media. The Facebook page, for whatever reason, has my middle initial, my actual byline, John E. Hoover Media. That's my professional page, and it's been kind of a, repository for links to all of our work, right, at our website, OklahomaSoonersOnSI.com. Well, that page is now growing. That Facebook page is now growing. And you can subscribe to exclusive content that I'm going to be posting over there. You have to pay a 49-cent or a 99-cent subscriber fee for the first month or something like that. It's going to include a ton of videos like we're doing here, only much shorter. YouTube is a better place to kind of explore the long form stuff or longer form stuff. But the Facebook page is going to be in and out real quick, easy content, the latest headlines, the newest developments, my insights on what's going on in and around the program. I've covered this team for 22 years now, so I know a little bit. I'm still evolving, obviously, but what's not going to change, something you can continue to count on, that's the quality and integrity of my work, right? I mean, like I said, I've been covering the Sooners since 2004. I think by now you can trust me. Quick pitch to the website if you don't know by now, OklahomaSoonersOnSI.com. We're part of Sports Illustrated's On SI network. We're one of the biggest and most successful sites on the entire SI network because we've been going strong since 2020, and we've got, frankly, I'll just say this. I'm going to butter these guys up. We've got the best staff of writers and content producers out there covering OU football. I'm the publisher. I've covered the team as a beat writer for going on 22 years now. Ryan Chapman is our co-publisher now, and he's been my right-hand man since the end of the 2020 college football season. Carson Field, the guy is an up-and-coming superstar in the sports media biz, writer, video, photographer, the whole package. Ryan Avery, you may have heard of him. He was only the lead OU beat writer at the Oklahoman, for Pete's sake, for like 12 or 13 years. So he knows a thing or two about the Sooners. And we've got noted OU alum Brady Trantham, who brings a really unique perspective on OU from the world of radio and podcasting. Follow him on his Through the Keyhole podcast. I think he's going to be eventually a great columnist. He's got a really good perspective on OU. And again, you can find all that coverage at OklahomaSoonersOnSI.com. If you think about it now, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter when you get to the page. That way, every headline, every story, every post will go straight to your inbox via email. Man, how easy is that? We like it simple. So, we got the introductions out of the way. Now the video gets started. Here we go. Ready? Here goes. It's portal season. I mean, we had Christmas, we had New Year's. Now we have portal season, January 2nd to January 16th. 2 weeks. As of midnight last night, Eastern time, the transfer portal is officially open for business. You got till January 16th to get your name in, guys. So if you're a college football player, join the 7,000 other people like yourself and get your name in the transfer portal. That's mind-blowing to me. The names in OU certainly are flying fast and furious. Let's start with the 22 players so far, as of this morning, who have chosen to leave. Again, at least for now. They could technically exit the portal, a la David Stone, and come back. But right now, there's 22 guys who have announced their intentions to enter the transfer portal. So we'll talk about them. We'll talk about the team's needs, and we'll talk about the changes that Brent Venables has already begun to make for his 2026 coaching staff. Okay, I'm going to try to be nice here. That's what I do. At one point or another, every one of these guys that want to leave Oklahoma, they were considered good football players, very good, elite. The coaching staff wanted them. The coaching staff went out and recruited them, spent a bunch of money and resources, and signed them, right, for a reason, right? Okay, good. We agree on that. But while we're being nice, let's also be honest. There's only a few of these guys in this portal class, say 22, who contributed much of anything to the big resurgence of 2025. Let's go over the ones who did. On defense, it's obvious. Kobe McKenzie. Guy played 331 snaps. I'm looking at Pro Football Focus numbers right now. 331 snaps for Kobe McKenzie. Was a starter early in the year. Got replaced by Owen Heineke. Devon Jordan, Day-Day, played 232 snaps. Those are the two, to me, I think, surprising names to enter the transfer portal from Oklahoma. And I'm telling you, I would guarantee Brent Venables would rather have them back. But after those guys, Gentry Williams played 178 snaps when he was healthy. Marcus Strong played 106 snaps and seemed to be a guy that was on his way up. Kendall Dolby was hurt, still hurt, all year pretty much. Couldn't get in the lineup. Malik Hawkins was just a freshman. Marcus Wimberly, another freshman. Of those guys, nobody else played significant snaps for this defense who's jumping in the portal. None. I do know the coaches had high hopes for Hawkins and Wimberly, but, hey, they're freshmen. Sometimes it happens. Freshmen get homesick. Freshmen get hurt. They don't play. All of a sudden they get discouraged. It's time to go look around. They get bad advice or good advice sometimes from family members or agents or whatever you got. So if you think about it, that kind of attrition is actually natural and can be expected once in a while. But, losing a guy like Kobe McKenzie, Data Jordan, that's not ideal. But you look at the offense now, listen. You got Logan Howland, who played 221 snaps at tackle. And I think they were hoping he would come back because he's really versatile. He was showing some real growth at offensive tackle the last couple of years, no doubt about it. And he's a guy that was coming on. You got Caden Helms, tight end, 201 snaps last year. A career high by far for him. Again, when he was healthy enough to play, he was okay. Luke Baklenko, transfer, offensive lineman. He ended up getting 155 snaps on the line. 155, not many, but that helped when they needed him before he got hurt again. So Carson Kent, another tight end, played 130 snaps. 130. Now, those are the big ones. Those are the ones that contributed the most. Michael Hawkins, Javante Barnes, Troy Everett, Josiah Martin, Jacob Sexton, Taylor Tatum, Jake Taylor, Isaiah Dent, KJ Daniels. None of those guys were even really role players in 2025 for Oklahoma. I guess you could say Hawkins was. Hawkins had a role. He was the backup quarterback. He started the one game against Kent State. But between the guys who were injured, guys who opted out of the season, guys who got passed up on the depth chart, OU's losing just a few pieces. Moderate backup type pieces, okay? So 22 names seems like not a lot, but it's really not. And I think that the fact that those guys that are leaving are looking for greener pastures, nobody's angry that I know of. I think it says a lot about the culture that Brent Venables has created inside the Switzer Center. So let's talk about what OU needs out of the portal over the next 2 weeks. Well, for one, they need more depth. That's basically what they just lost. They lost 6 offensive linemen to the portal already. And Bill Bedenbaugh, he's going to have to identify quickly some guys, and he's going to have to bring them in, sign them, right? Convince them, recruit them, and convince them to come to Oklahoma. It's going to have to be guys that can play multiple positions, though. And guys that, might not mind sitting behind an established starter, because right now, going into 26, looks like 4 of the 5 positions for next year are pretty much set. We just looked at the OU roster, and yeah, it looks like OU still needs a tight end. After all this time, a real true SEC caliber tight end. You know what? More on that position in a second. An experienced backup quarterback would probably help if you think about it. Although, if you bring in one of those, Whit Neubauer or Jet New or both would probably transfer, because that's what quarterbacks do now. The future of that position, obviously, after John Mateer, obviously belongs to Bo Bentley. So if you go out and get a guy in the portal, are you going to like him more than Neubauer or Jet New? And is that guy going to be able to be comfortable with sitting behind John Mateer and probably Bo Bentley? I don't know. We'll see. You're going to need another running back. Jaden Ott was a disaster, man. The guy was just a drain on the roster, and the team's NIL kitty, and probably the overall team morale too. You got Barnes opted out. Tatum couldn't get healthy. He hit the portal just today, by the way. Tatum did. I thought Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock were good this year. I think those guys can carry the load, but here's the deal. As this season showed us, man, the SEC is just too physical to have 2 running backs on your roster. So you need an impact guy there, in my opinion. On defense, man, you're losing a couple of big-time defensive ends. You're not really replacing them with anyone that's on the roster. I mean, Danny Okoye, PJ Adebawore will get some more snaps, but you're not replacing that impact of R. Mason Thomas and Marvin Jones. You're not replacing them with guys who have done a lot yet, I should say. So you got to, to me, bring in at least one guy from the portal, like a Marvin Jones last year, who's just a dude, right? That would be good for Oklahoma's defense. At tackle, you're bringing in back Jaden Jackson and David Stone, and, obviously they're both going to be great next year. But you need to replace Dominic Williams and Grayson Halton, and that's going to be tough, because it was the depth, if you think about it. It was the depth and the rotation that made that group so good this year, so elite. I think at linebacker, you're hanging all of your hopes on Kip Lewis coming back, which is, appears for now he will. But you're also hanging hopes on the NCAA granting Owen Heineke a 6th year. You can't put money on that. You're also losing Kendall Daniels. He's a senior. He was always going to be just a kind of a 1-year rental guy anyway out of Oklahoma State. Reggie Powers can probably lock down most of the snaps at Cheetah, so that's a bit of a push there. Although no doubt they're going to miss Kendall Daniels. The guy was a playmaker and really played that position well. But here's the deal: numbers-wise, you now need a big-time linebacker out of the portal. Maybe 2, depending on how you feel about the incoming freshman. Defensive back, you're kind of set here. Both corners are back. Peyton Bowen is back. Jaden Hardy, Michael Boganowski, Powers, those guys played well at safety this year, and some young guys will be brought along behind them as well. You can expect that. Some guys who played with a little bit of confidence in their youth this year. But here's the deal. College football, man, it just keeps evolving at light speed, right? All the players have agents now. All the recruits have agents. And a lot of what we're seeing in the portal news nowadays, and I mean a lot, is happening because players and their agents and their families are going to the coaching staff, and they're going to the personnel people, the GMs and whatnot, and they're saying, here's what we're going to need to stay at OU or, whatever school they're at. Here's what we're going to need. Here's how much money you're going to have to pay me next year. I'm going to need a raise, basically. How many times you go into your boss's office and say, I'm going to need a raise, and the boss says, absolutely, whatever you want. Never happens. Never happens. I got some stories about that. Anyway, coaches right now are answering those requests by saying, you're serious? Listen, we're not paying that much money for a guy who hasn't even played yet, hasn't stayed healthy, hasn't contributed, hasn't shown he's willing to sacrifice anything for the benefit of the team. That's a hard sell for a coaching staff who's up against it numbers-wise, right? So Jim Nagy and his personnel staff, that's tricky, man. They got to know what's available in the portal. They got to know maybe there's guys out there who want to play for the Oklahoma Sooners, right? Grew up around here, grew up watching them. Maybe they grew up in Dallas, love the Sooners, hate Texas, whatever it is. And they got to know, they got to weigh all that, Nagy and his staff, they got to weigh all that against who's already on the roster and what that guy's financial demands are now going into 2026. It's a mess. Tangled up mess. It's like a big box of Christmas lights. How's he supposed to untangle that by the 25th, right? That's the way it is in my garage anyway. I can tell you this. It might look the same on the field, but guys, college football, fundamentally speaking, college football isn't even the same sport it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. It's not. On the field. And speaking of on the field, how about those semifinal games yesterday and the day before? I know there's only one that most of you guys care about, Indiana, curb stomping Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Oof. I still wonder if Alabama deserved a spot in the playoffs this year. I would have probably picked Notre Dame over the Tide. I don't think Alabama was worthy of that spot, that last spot. They did come to Norman and win. I know, the playoff game. They won their playoff game. They beat the Sooners. I get it. But OU won in Tuscaloosa too. So who's the better team? It's a push. If the Sooners had cleaned up just a few of those mistakes they made in the playoff game, they would have won that thing. And then they probably would have gotten curb stomped by Indiana out in the Rose Bowl. Honestly, I think OU had a defense that could have at least kept up with the Hoosiers and made it close. But man, think about it. Would the OU offense have even scored against Indiana? I don't know. So, okay, here we go. Last thing. I know it's day one, and we here at the YouTube channel for this particular venture, and we've got a lot to get to. So I want to thank you for hanging in there with me. Venables finally did something about the black hole in his offensive staff room. Joe Jon Finley has been let go. The Sooners, they need a tight end coach. Now, I covered Joe Jon as a player. I've covered his time as an OU assistant coach. He was a good player, but he has struggled big time as a coach. He just has. Number one, the players he develops, the players he coaches do not develop. They just don't. OU hasn't had a good tight end since Braden Willis, who, let's be honest again, he was at OU for 3 years before Lincoln Riley even brought back Finley to coach the Sooner tight ends, and that was 2021. Didn't matter whether it was guys from the portal or guys he recruited. If you think about it, OU tight ends the last 3 years have just been a disaster. They've been ineffective blockers in the run game. They've had bad plays in the pass game, whether it was Bauer Sharp or drop passes downfield or whatever it was. You got some good stuff this year out of Jaron Kanik, but he's a guy who spent 3 years playing linebacker first. That's how bad OU tight ends were. Meanwhile, here's the bad part, y'all. Oklahoma high schools have been producing some absolute studs at tight end, and none of them came to Oklahoma. Think about it. Luke Haas out of Bixby goes to Arkansas, and then when he enters the transfer portal, he comes out at Ole Miss. All he does is catch a touchdown last night to help beat Georgia in the college football playoff. You got Cooper Alexander. He's the son of a former Sooner and an NFL Sooner at that, Steven Alexander. Guy comes out of Washington High School, Washington, Oklahoma, just down the street from Norman, and he goes to Iowa State, which, give him credit, that's a place where they obviously know how to use and develop their tight ends. And then Nate Roberts, Alexander's teammate at Washington High School, and he's also former Sooner Jake Roberts' little brother. He chooses Ohio State over OU. Ohio State, pretty good gig. National champs last year. Got run this year. But think about it, guys. Right out of Brent Venables' backyard. And who could forget Devon Mitchell? Former 5-star tight end. Reclassified. Came in as a high school junior and then promptly did nothing in 2024. Transferred to Louisville. So, something had to be done about Joe Jon Finley. No development out of his recruits. Busts in the portal. Big-time talent leaving the state to go be superstars somewhere else. It was way past time. Oh, by the way, Devon Mitchell, he did nothing at Louisville too, and he's already back in the transfer portal. I'm just saying. There's already a few names being tossed out there as possible replacements. Sure, there's some good ones. But if you're Brent, why would you not make the obvious hire here and promote Kevin Wilson? If Kevin Wilson wants that job, right? Tight ends coach at Oklahoma. Last year, Brent gave Joe Jon a raise from $520,000 a year to $950,000 a year. Now, I've seen 900. I've also seen 950. I think there's a bonus in there for calling plays or something. Now, listen, I'm sure that made him the highest paid tight ends coach in the country. Yeah? Unbelievable. So here's the deal with Kevin Wilson. He loves OU. He's the guy, think about it, he's the guy that was credited with the whole when's enough going to be enough mantra that they came up with down in the end of the season in November. After the Ole Miss game, after Ole Miss came to Norman and won, Kevin Wilson, who didn't lose a whole lot of games as an assistant coach under Bob Stoops in Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Kevin Wilson stood up and said, guys, he got real emotional. He said, guys, when's enough going to be enough? When are people going to stop coming to Oklahoma and winning games here in our stadium? That got the team going. Also, Kevin Wilson, long history of coaching tight ends, especially at Oklahoma. Kind of knows what he's doing there. Offensive genius, for the most part. Came up with the 2008 record-setting offense. Don't forget that. And then the next thing, here's something to think about future-wise. Whether the offense stinks again next year or whether it just absolutely blows up and sets every NCAA record, Brent Venables is going to have to, at some point, think about life after Ben Arbuckle. Whether he's bad and gets fired or good and gets hired somewhere else. Kevin Wilson could be that seamless conduit right now as tight ends coach, starting at tight ends coach, to be OU's immediate future offensive coordinator. I don't know. Just saying. We'll see how that goes. But now the focus needs to turn, in my opinion, to another former Sooner, great, turned not so great coach, DeMarco Murray. The development of DeMarco's running backs over the last 3 to 4 years has pretty much mirrored Joe Jon in the tight ends, man. It's been a bust. Think about it. Taylor Tatum was the number one running back recruit in the country last year, and the guy showed some obvious talent as a true freshman. But he fumbled, and he got his quarterback killed, and he got hurt, and now he can't get healthy, and now he's in the portal. Look at Javante Barnes, Gavin Sawchuk. Both, in my opinion, underachieved in their time at OU. Both, remember, the Florida State Bowl game, freshman year, when they both went for 100 yards in that game against the Seminoles. Yeah, the Seminoles, who had a defensive superstar by the name of Jared Verse, who's now an all-pro for the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah. That Florida State defense, they both went for 100 yards against that defense. 2023, remember when Sawchuk finally just took over the position and had like 5 straight 100-yard games? He just was like, give me the football. At some point, Venables told DeMarco, give him the football. Those guys had talent. Sawchuk was the number 7 ranked running back recruit in the country. Barnes was number 16 coming out of Las Vegas. But I don't think they got the kind of coaching at OU that they needed to develop to take that next step. Look at Dalen Smothers. He came to OU, spent a year, did nothing, then went home to North Carolina and became a superstar. Smothers is in the portal again, by the way. Just saying. Caleb Hicks, he got 5 carries his first 2 years at OU. Seems patient enough to me. Hits the transfer portal, goes to Oklahoma State, and finally got to play some last year. Had some good moments. I mean, Xavier Robinson, he wasn't a high priority recruit out of Carl Albert. And to be honest, his career got off to a slow start. Some of it was by his own making because as he said, he came in out of shape, overweight. But it was clear late last year that he was the most productive back on the team, and yet he barely cracked the lineup again this year before he finally had a couple of good games and then ends the season getting a little bit banged up. So it just feels inevitable, guys, that at some point in the very near future, Venables is going to have to let DeMarco Murray go. And there you have it. That's it for today. Appreciate you guys watching and hanging with me. We're going to try to post new videos like this a couple of times a week, maybe more. So please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And click the little bell up in the corner there to get notifications when I post new content. And you can, of course, hit that like button. That will help build the algorithm and get our content out there to others like yourself. You can always share our videos on your own social media channels. Man, I'm telling you, that is a huge help. That really gets the word out there. And don't forget, head over to the website, OklahomaSoonersOnSI.com, for all the individual breakdowns of every player and in and out of the portal, plus all the rest of the OU football headlines. I'm telling y'all, 6 years now going on doing this thing for SI. The news on this beat never stops, and we're on top of all of it. OU basketball has jumped into the SEC play. Softball and baseball, it's January, so softball and baseball is going to be here next month before you know it. So bookmark that baby, or you know what? Like I said, just sign up for the newsletter. There's also new exclusive content on my Facebook page, as I mentioned, John E. Hoover Media. So if you're on the book, you can always become a subscriber. Appreciate that. If you're on the Twitter, it's free. Follow me at John E. Hoover or at Sooners on SI. One last thing, I just want to let you all know that I am so grateful to you all for following along. I can't express my gratitude enough. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And we'll talk to you next time.